Hey traders, it's Thursday, February 5th, and I'm Michael Boutros, Senior Market Analyst with StoneX, here for a quick multi-time frame look at Bitcoin. The carnage continues. We're now poised to mark a third consecutive weekly decline. We're about 29% off the January highs, 45% off the record highs, and price is testing a critical support pivot zone today. Here's what the weekly chart looks like. We're dropping into oversold conditions for the first time since back here in June of 2022. In that instance, right after we broke into oversold on the weekly chart, we still dropped another 40% to the downside. Just some reference, that 2021 decline was a 77% pullback. The previous decline back in 2017 marked an 84% pullback. So there is still some room for further damage here, but this is the first pivot zone you'd want to note. Also, this extent of the 2021 decline lasted roughly 54, 53 weeks. You're talking about basically a year. Similar scenario in the late 2017 drop. That was about 55 weeks on the decline. We're still young as far as the length of this decline. We're only about 17 weeks off the high. Now, if you stretch that out to a 52, 53 week decline, you're still looking at potentially down till October to be a similar scenario as what we saw earlier. That being said, the immediate focus is on this key support zone. You're looking at the 2021 swing high, the 618 extension of the decline off the record highs. That gives you 69,000 proper into about 69,675. We're trading there right now. It's going to be critical to watch the weekly close. A weekly close below this zone would continue the downside pressure. Your next major support zone from a technical standpoint is the 618 retracement of the advance off the late 2022 low and the objective August 2024 low week close. So the week that the low is registered, the close of that session gives you 57,885 into 58,725. So right in that zone right there. Now that converges in a few months down on downtrend support for the current formation we've been tracking since last year and the 2023 trend line. So from a time value, that's when that level becomes much more significant. If we break from here, the slope itself comes in near 62,000. Point being, this is a major pivot zone for Bitcoin at this juncture. Drill down deeper. Here's what the daily chart looks like. Some potential structure in play here just off of last month's high. We were tracking that November uptrend, which broke on January 20th. We tested it as resistance. Days later, the objective monthly open for January, the yearly open, and the objective December low day close broke. And that was on January 29th. That was the initial thrust that really gave us this downspout, which is now testing a key support zone. Initial resistance comes in at 73,679 into 74,434. That's the pivot zone we've been watching all week, which finally gave way yesterday. It converges on the median line. So that break, again, kind of solidifies the downside for now. Subsequent resistance is 79,127. Ultimately, you would need to see a breach and a close above 84,000, 83,712. To suggest that a more significant low is in place. That's the 38.2 retracement of the advance off the lows that you made in 2022, and that's the 2025 low week close. So the levels on the upside are pretty well defined. On the downside, like I said, 57,885 is your next sort of major thrust, major zone of support if this were to give way. Beyond that, two equal legs off the high from the record is 52,200. And if we go back to the weekly chart, that's what lines up with about, again, 55, 53 week decline in Bitcoin. So still potential more damage to go. The immediate focus is on this support. If we're going to see a rebound or a little bit of a back and fill, this would be the first level to look for that. Again, you'd need a breach above 84,000 to mark a more significant low is in place, a larger reversal is underway. Beyond this zone, if we pivot beyond this zone, it could be yet another bout of accelerated declines towards that 57,800 level. It's been a very volatile couple of days since the start of the year for Bitcoin, and certainly this break is now testing a key pivot. We'll keep you updated as always on MB Forex on X. Till then, best of luck trading. We'll see you next week. Cheers.